Good morning, and happy Veterans Day. I'm John Hall, Westbrook First Selectman. I want to welcome you all here. I particularly want to welcome our veterans who are mostly in the seats. There are a few others that haven't taken a seat, but we're here today to honor you people. For your service and dedication to this country that allows us to live the way we want to live. I won't get into politics, but I think we all enjoy living here in Westbrook particularly. We've got an extensive program. We've added the garrison flag over here, which is going to be the flag when we pledge that we pledge to. And I want to thank the fire department for their efforts to get that up for us today. It's a little breezy, but it's beautiful. So at this point, I'd like to introduce some Daisy School fifth graders who are going to lead us in the pledge. Caden Bloom, Walker Silvestrini, Ruby Fuchs, and Viviana Velasquez.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, guys.
Please continue rising for the national anthem, which will be performed by the Westbrook High School Concert Choir. Now I would like to invite Reverend Jeanette Cooper Hicks, pastor of the Westbrook Congregational Church, who will be conducting the invocation and speak to us on a personal level.
Let us pray. Holy One, we gather on this Veterans Day to thank you for all those who served honorably in the military, whether in air, on land, or in the sea, whether in war or in peacetime. We ask your blessing upon those living veterans among us for the roles each played in defending our nation's security. May God bless all of us here as we remember those in the armed forces who lived and preserved our freedom. Let their good work of seeking justice for the oppressed and security for all be rewarded. And let this day remind us all to strive for peace in our homes, families, communities, and nation. May we never fail to remember the incredible cost of our freedom. Amen. Now, I was asked to speak here today not just as pastor of the church here beside us on the green, but also as a wife of a former lieutenant commander in the United States Navy. I was a mother to 4 children, ranging from infancy to age 9, when he was deployed for 18 months to Afghanistan. My daughter was asked by the American Legion in Guilford to write an essay about that time of her life. And I was asked to read you her essay this morning about being a child of a veteran. When I was in elementary school, my dad deployed to a war zone in Afghanistan where he amputated limbs from young people day and night. Mostly Marines, but also countless Afghani children and civilians. Many innocent people were caught up in the midst of an international power struggle that had little to do with their everyday lives. He lived apart from our family for a year and a half, and transitioning from a healthy 2-parent family to a single-parent home was tough. My mother, that's me, balanced a graduate degree, full-time work as a minister, and raised 4 children, and I felt the need to be very strong for my family. But most of all, I wanted to hear from my dad, to know he was safe, to have him at home. Nothing fills the void of anxiety and loss for a military family. Daily news brought fear into our home and into his camp because every crisis and decision by lawmakers impacted our lives and influenced when my dad might be able to return home. Veterans and their families face immense fear, sacrifice, and heavy responsibilities, and it made me grow up in ways I wish it didn't have to. Every day, our safe borders and the ability to worship freely exist because of veterans. Behind peaceful elections and citizens living the American dream are veterans who paved the way. They endure so much for our liberties, knowing they might make the ultimate sacrifice. As a veteran's child, I understand how important it is for veterans to have a space to share their history that they helped create. Listening to their stories, celebrating their victories, and honoring their losses affirm that their service matters. Many veterans return home physically wounded, or they may also bear moral injuries that linger. So we must be honest about the true cost of war on these individuals and honor those who served, maintained our freedom, and returned changed. Our democracy has liberties like no other nation, thanks to our veterans, who deserve our utmost gratitude. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Riley Bogart. I'm Westbrook High School's sophomore class president, and I'll be doing some introductions for us this morning. Next up on our agenda, we have Mr. Gerald Otrin. Mr. Gerald Otrin joined the Marine Corps in 1965 after graduating from Westbrook High School. He served for 4 years on active duty with combat engineers in Marine aviation, including 2 tours in Vietnam, and earned the rank of Staff Sergeant. After war, he used the GI Bill to earn an accounting degree from the University of New Haven. He continued to serve our community with the Westbrook Volunteer Ambulance, the Westbrook Fire Department, the Boy Scouts, and as a helicopter crew chief with the CT Army National Guard. He now volunteers as the commander of Westbrook's American Legion Post 103. Give it up for Mr. Gerald Otrin.
Wow, did I do all that? First of all, welcome. Us as veterans, we appreciate this so much. It's the recognition a lot of us didn't have, especially from the Vietnam War, coming home to nothing for recognize what we did in an overseas battles and in combat and the duties we performed and missions we accomplished. But for all you, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Also, I'd like to mention happy birthday to the United States Marine Corps, which I am one. 249 years of service with if there's any Marines out there, Semper Fi, happy birthday. Me as a veteran, there was a lot that we looked at and came back to and said, what did I do that for? And after a while, you kind of realized the country back then was in kind of turmoil. It was in the 60s, not a lot of cooperation, almost like what we're having now, but I think things might change. So, but being as a veteran, we did what we were trained to do. All our training was excellent, going into a combat situation, and it was all a sacrifice. We as Marines and soldiers, airmen, Coast Guard, Navy, even the Air Force and the Air Force space program that they just established here 4 years ago, Space Force. We're here for a purpose. We protect and serve our country. We gave an oath, and our oath we carried through. I'd like to also mention that this flag waving in front of me is what it's all about. It's the United States of America. And this flag doesn't bleed. We as veterans, we bled for the flag and everyone behind us to keep the freedom and the sacrifices we made so everybody can be free. And that's what this is all about. The veterans stood between our enemy or our threat and protected the country for that reason, and we're still doing that today. We will continue to do that. We will not give this freedom up. It's something that's very important, so we need veterans and military to carry this through for everybody. And it's our country. It's what we fight for. That's what the armed forces are for. That's why they're armed forces. Also, veterans, a lot of us come back, and like I was always back to our situation in Vietnam, we kind of disappear in the woodwork. Nobody sees us. We don't talk about what we did. But here's an opportunity where people kind of want to know what you did. And we're going to give you that chance in a little bit here. We're going to have another Marine behind me take care of that for you. You may all know him. And tell us a little bit about what you did. It's the thing of being proud of what you did. I did that kind of thing. Not me personally, but we can all say that. Gee, we did that, and that's what we did. And be proud of what you did, and let everybody know. It was a sacrifice for all of us, for us ourselves, and then for our family. But it needed to be done. Also, I am, as mentioned, an American Legion. I'm the commander of Post 103, which meets right down the road here at the Westbrook Library once a month. And we're trying to hold together our group, which is all veterans as well. And the American Legion is an organization that was founded back in 1919, just after World War I. And they turned 100 years in 2019, and our local is 100 years as of August 24th. We got chartered as our Post 103 in August of 1924. So we're 100 years. We're 100 years as anniversary, so which is great achievement. But we're still, like all other organizations, it's hard to keep everybody in and together. So we also are looking for veterans, and now we got a nice group here today. you're interested in joining our group, please see me. We no hesitate to sign you up, and our purpose is to serve the community, serve fellow veterans, and also help in the community. In the education, we give scholarships. We have Oracle patriotic writings that are also competed for funding and money as well. And the most important that we feel to honor us veterans and the flags, our cemeteries, of which we have 4 in this town. We as the American Legion go around to each cemetery and flag every cemetery's gravestone of a veteran. We don't miss it. We're out there and do this every Memorial Day, so they get their respect and their honor at that time, and we as American Legion do that as well. So it's an honor for us to do that, and we just want to carry that patriotism on for the future. Again, thank you. I want to again thank our veterans, and thank you everyone for showing up. We appreciate this as veterans, something we don't see like this too often, and we wish we could do it more often, but once a year is plenty for us. And very good. Thank you very much.
Now it is with great pleasure to introduce our next guest speaker, Mr. Gil Simmons, Chief Meteorologist for WTNH-TV, who is also a veteran. Mr. Simmons joined the Marine Corps at 17 years old and served 6 years on active duty as a meteorologist and oceanographer from 1990 to 1996. He achieved the rank of Staff Sergeant E6. His duties took him all over the world forecasting the weather for airplanes, weapon systems, and ships. When he left the Marine Corps, he was able to use the GI Bill to graduate from Western Connecticut State University. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Simmons.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Good to see you. Welcome, everybody. How is everybody today? Oh, we have to raise the energy on this side. How are you over there today? Hi. Good. Now, at this point, and this is all unrehearsed, and I'm going off of script, but what I would like, if the veterans could please stand so everybody could see you and give you a round of applause for all the work you've done. Let them hear it, everybody. And thank you to each and every one of you for coming here today. We appreciate your time. And I may put you on the spot in a moment or two, but it gives me a great honor to be here. I was here a year ago for this exact event, this exact ceremony, and this exact highlighting of veterans. And I think it is very important. I talked about this event for a full year because I'm talking about it today. It left me with such a positive vibe when I was here a year ago. The fact that we have younger people here interested and listening to what veterans have done for your freedom. Also, I'd like to give everybody here a shout out. Your music is absolutely incredible. Let's give them a round of applause as well. So thank you. You know, and it's interesting, as the Marine pointed out with the flag in front of us, and I thank you for that, I wanted to take a moment and point out this other flag right here. This one is important as well. This highlights people that are not here today. This highlights missing in action, MIA. When you see this black flag, that is one component of this flag. There are people that have given their lives for the freedoms that we enjoy even right now by being on this green and speaking about what we want to speak about. This also reflects prisoners of war, which is exactly what that means. Between prisoners of war that served that time against their free will and were released, prisoners of war that we may never, ever know about, who maybe have gone to the missing in action side. I just want to highlight this flag right here because to me, it is as important as that red, white, and blue. And I know some of you may not be aware as to what even those letters mean. But this is a very important flag when you see this one as well. And as I was introduced, I joined the Marine Corps in 1990 at 17 years old. I came from a family, my father was in the U.S. Army that served 2 tours in Vietnam. The first time he served, he came back and people spit on him. He did not like the way he was treated. He went back to Vietnam to serve a second tour. And I appreciate now that we give the time and we highlight and we reference and thank Vietnam veterans for what they did. We thank Korean War veterans for what they did as well. And there are very few World War II veterans that we can even talk to anymore. And that is very sad. But I just want all of you to know that it is a great appreciation from me, and I'm sure a lot of these veterans here, that you are taking time out of your busy schedule today instead of doing like some of your other fellow students are doing and just having a day off and doing whatever they want to do, maybe on the device or going to a store. But you are here learning today about history and what people have sacrificed. Again, I was a weatherman basically in the Marine Corps. And maybe years down the road, some of you may think about joining the military. And I would just invite you to maybe look into that angle. If you find yourself at a dead-end road, maybe not that motivated, no jobs a little bit later on when you grow up, there are all kinds of jobs and career fields you can choose from. But I also wanted to spend the time because when I do the weather, I wear that earpiece. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I've been known to go too long sometimes when I talk about the weather, where they wrap me up in my ear. And I don't want to put you to sleep today. I don't want to go too long because I want to have a fair amount of time to maybe talk to a few veterans who are here today so you can hear firsthand from some of these great people. Sir, what's your name and what were you in?
My name is John Carnage, and I served over in Africa during the uprising of French Morocco.
And John, what years were you in? Do you remember?
Yes, I was in 56 to 60. 56.
Let's give John a round of applause, everybody. Thank you, John. Thank you. I'm going to go down the line, sir. Let's give your name, branch, and when you were in.
Neil Sorensen, United States Army, Military Police, 62 to 64 active, and up to 68 as a reserve.
Well, how does it make you feel being here with all these young people, all these band members that came out with an incredible performance?
Makes me feel great because I like the way Westbrook does things, and with all the students here, rather than, as you said, being at home doing whatever they want to do. Appreciate having them all here, and I think they learn a lot too, but we appreciate them.
Well, thank you for saying a few words today. I appreciate that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, when were you in and what did you do?
63 to 69. I was a crew chief of a two-engine fighter reconnaissance aircraft. It's time between Southeast Asia, Southwest Asia, and Europe.
And how does it make you feel today when you're here looking at this wonderful crowd?
It makes me feel proud.
Is there anything you would recommend or give advice to this group here of school kids?
Do your homework, do your research, because you are the future of our country.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your words as well. Thank you. And your service. And good morning. When were you in?
I was in 1965 to 1967, was drafted, and of all places, they sent me to France. Wow. I was in the Signal Corps, and we supplied telephone and radio support to the troops over there.
Now, how does it make you feel to see the turnout here in Westbrook, Connecticut, USA?
I think this is marvelous. I really, really think it's good for the young people to see us, that we live. We are here, and we're as proud of you as you are of us. Thank you.
Very nice. Well said. Got to get over to the Marine over here. And I know I could keep going on, but I just have to say, Semper Fi, happy birthday. Yes. Tell everybody about your history with the military.
I joined in 99 to 07. I was with the United States Marine Corps 4th Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion. My name's Abel Perry, and I loved it.
And what kind of areas did you go to, and what was your MOS?
My MOS was 0311.
I saw that, yes. You want to tell what everybody in 0311 is?
I was an infantryman. I was a scout with the recon unit, so did a lot of that stuff.
Is there any words you would have of wisdom, advice, or anything you want to say to this captive crowd here today trying to learn?
Oh, stay in school and respect your elders.
Very well said. Semper Fi. Thank you. Do I have any students that would like to come out and maybe say a couple of words? Oh, I love a big hand in the air right away. Come on down. Yes. Well, yes, you first. You were first up. Is there anything you'd like to say to the veterans that are here today?
Yes, of course. Thank you for serving and making our country better. And I just want to give a shout out. He's passed away to my grandpa. He served in the Marines. He went to Vietnam. I don't remember the years. And thank you to everyone that has served, even the people who didn't talk, just everyone. And thank you for coming here.
And what is your name?
My name is Molly Crystal.
Well, Molly, let's give Molly a round of applause. Thank you for doing that. That was very well said. And we think of your grandfather as well. Thank you for sharing that. That was really nice. Okay, you've been nominated. Are you class president? You have a fan base over here. Is there anything you'd like to say to the veterans over here in the crowd?
Thank you for your service, and thank you for protecting our country.
Well said, but what does it mean to you being here today at this event? Do you have any emotions, or how does it make you feel?
I feel proud or thankful for our veterans or our country and protecting our country.
Very good. Well said. Thank you for that as well. Give them a round of applause, everybody. Yeah, the fan base over here. Anybody else want to say a word? Yes, come on down, please. Thank you for volunteering. I'm hoping the microphone works. What would you like to say?
Thank you to all the veterans that have served for us. And thank you for everyone who has been here. I'd like to shout out my grandpa. He's somewhere in the crowd.
Where's he at? You want to raise your hand, Grandpa? Okay, maybe. Okay. Well, regardless, what else did you want to say?
Thank you for being here today.
All right. What's your name?
Alana.
Alana, thank you very much. That was very nice. Great job, too. Thank you. We had somebody else? Okay, one more. Come on out, because as I get it to wrap up, who was over here? Who are we going to go with? I'm going to let you decide. Okay, come on down. Yes. Never used to get volunteers like this. Pretty impressive. And what's your name?
My name is Kayla Gomez-Kaya.
Okay, what would you like to say to the veterans today?
Thank you for setting our country free, and thank you for our freedom.
Nice job. Great job. Thanks for coming out. Great job, everybody. How about next year? Maybe next year. Again, I want to thank everybody today for coming, and it's amazing that we have that many kids volunteering. I think a lot of you veterans would agree. This is a wonderful program here in Westbrook. Anybody else want to say something that I may have missed? One last opportunity. Yes, sir.
I'm all choked up. Okay, first of all, Gil, I want to thank you for your great service to our country.
It's the least I can do.
My name's Robert Labriola, and I enlisted when I graduated high school. I was 17, like you, and I thought I knew everything till the drilling started to kick the crap out of me.
Oh, I bet.
And you learn very fast. Here's something I want to give you. I keep getting these in the mail from the Marine Corps.
Oh, wow.
It's never in there. I want to give it to you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I didn't want to waste it.
Look at that.
What I want to say is I'm glad that I was able to protect in service, like all our veterans, our young people, and all the people in this country that are great.
Right.
And thank God we went the right way.
Wonderful. Words well said. And thank you for your service, and thank you for getting up and speaking as well.
Thank you, Bill.
And I appreciate that thoughtfulness of the sticker. Thank you. Anybody else? One more chance? Well, thank you all. As I get it, when I do the weather, wrap it up. Actually, we've got a couple of uniformed Marines. How about one of you coming out quickly? See, I can never wrap it up, but we might as well. Let's give them a round of applause right here. Hoorah! Push up. You want to tell everybody who you're with and what you're doing today?
Oh, absolutely. My name is Sergeant Vicario. I'm actually a one-year local Marine Corps recruiter. So I'm coming down to New Haven. I've been in the Marine Corps since 2008 to the present.
And what's your MOS? What do you do?
I'm actually an 0311. Yeah, that's a rifleman in the infantry. But currently, as I said, I am a recruiter for the Marine Corps.
Now, I know you're into recruiting, but what would you tell this group of young kids? They're not ready to be recruited, obviously, but what would you say to them as a veteran?
As a veteran, I would tell them to, keep their head straight, stay focused in school, and keep your options open. If you ever decide you want to do something different in your life, sit down and talk to a recruiter.
Very well said. Thank you for your time on the spot. Hoorah! Happy birthday as well. And I want to thank all the students who spoke up as well, that you did a great job, and the veterans, thank all of you on the spot. I really appreciate that. I just think it adds more to the event when they hear from you and you hear from them as well, so I thank you. As I've gotten from my producers in my ear, wrap it up about 10 times, so I think I'm going to wrap it up at this point, but it truly means a lot for me to even be a part of your day today here at this wonderful event. And I want to give a shout out to everybody underneath this roof right here who is involved with making today what it is. And I especially, Chet, come on up here just for a minute. I want to give Chet a round of applause today, who does so much for this event. He's right on point with the timing, the event, and everything. So, Chet, thank you for all your work with this, too. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And I'll see you tomorrow morning on the news. Thank you.
Good morning. Let's give another round of applause to Mr. Simmons, please. I am Anna Herringer, a senior at Westbrook High School and also the student representative to the Westbrook Board of Education. This morning, I wish to share with you one of the most famous war poems in history. More so than any other modern war, and certainly more than any war fought before it, the First World War was the age of the war poet. For the first time, droves of books were shipped from Britain and France to their front lines in northern France and Belgium, as well as other countries where the war was fought. Many Commonwealth nations had war propaganda posters asking people to donate books for the soldiers. One of the resulting poems is In Flanders Field, which I will read to you now. In Flanders Field by John McCrae. In Flanders Field, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks, still bravely singing, fly. Scars heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. The theme of this poem is that the living must continue to fight for the soldiers killed in the war. McCrae, writing about World War I, describes the poppies that blow across the field of graves and the larks that float above. The dead, who were alive only a short time before, are now buried in Flanders Field. The poem describes the tragedy of the soldiers' deaths, as well as the ongoing natural beauty that surrounds their graves. It also addresses the question of the next generation's responsibility to carry on the soldiers' battle. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Good morning. My name is Matthew Izzo, a senior at Westbrook High School and president of the senior class. I would like to take a moment to talk about the poppy that is associated with Veterans Day. The poppy is the flower designated as a symbol for Veterans Day. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow are the opening words of Colonel John McCrae's immortal poem. John McCrae wrote the poem In Flanders Field, which inspired the use of the poppy as a symbol of remembrance. In the spring of 1915, shortly after losing a friend in Ypres, he wrote this now famous poem after seeing poppies growing in battle-scarred fields. Ypres was the last major Belgian town in Allied hands. Ypres provided a defensive position from which to protect French ports on the English Channel. The red poppy is a nationally recognized symbol of sacrifice and has been distributed in North America, Europe, and most countries of the British Commonwealth since World War I to honor those who served and died for our nation's wars. It reminds Americans of the sacrifices made by our veterans while protecting our freedoms. The poppy should be worn with respect on the left side over the heart. It is a sacred symbol of remembrance and should not be affixed with any pin that obstructs the poppy. Today, students have been distributing the poppy, some of which have been donated by the VFW organization in Old Saybrook, and some of which have been handmade by Joyce Brinley, a member spouse of the American Legion, who is at a table on the green, so feel free to visit her at the end of our ceremony today. We ask that you share with others the knowledge about the poppy and its association with Veterans Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I would now like to turn attention to the Daisy Ingraham 4th and 5th grade chorus directed by Mr. Steve Ernst singing This Land is Your Land. would now like to turn attention to the building behind us all, the Westbrook Historical Society. The Westbrook Historical Society is a volunteer-led nonprofit that's dedicated to preserving relics, documents, and records relating to the history of Westbrook. They encourage us to look back at our history, and that's exactly what Ms. Marcy Fuller is here to do today. Each year, she deep dives into a past Westbrook resident who served in the military and learns about their life and service to our country. So without further ado, please welcome Ms. Marcy Fuller for our past veteran acknowledgement.
Welcome, everyone that's come today. It's so nice to see so many people. This year, the veteran I chose was Elihu Chapman Stevens. He served in World War I. Elihu was born in Westbrook in 1895 to parents Elbert Hamlin Stevens and Lena Jeanette Dibble. He married Grace Kirtland Stannard, who was the town clerk for many years. Elihu's family home was on Route 1, across from the Old Salt Works Road. Between Elihu and Grace, they were related to almost everyone in town. Some of the names of their family trees are Dibble, Spencer, D, Chapman, Bushnell, Kelsey, Kirtland, Hayden, Stannard, Wright, Lay, Magna, Post, and Stevens. On the 1917 military census, it states that Elihu is a carpenter. He's a good swimmer and can handle a motorboat and a sailboat. His registration card says he's a carpenter and he works for Henry Dibble. His service record states that he has returned to the carpentry trade since he was discharged. He was inducted into an artillery unit of the National Guard in New London on June of 1917. He trained for 10 months at Fort Terry in New York. He was then transferred to the 56th Regiment of the CAC, the Coast Artillery Corps. Some records say he was in Battery B, and others say he was in Battery E. So I'm not sure which one it is, but they had very similar experiences. Both batteries were composed principally of men from the Connecticut Coast Artillery, the 29th and 37th Companies of Long Island Sound Artilleries, and the National Army. A battery was composed of a group of artillery pieces that were commanded by a single person and used to fire on a specific target. Batteries could include a variety of cannon, howitzers, or mortars, and were used in a number of situations, including during battles, sieges, and as part of warship armament. Light artillery were pulled by horses, and heavy artillery were pulled by tracked vehicles. He left New York on the ship Leviathan, headed to Brest, France, and from Brest to Clermont-Ferrand. He first saw action at the Second Battle of the Marne, and again at the Meuse-Argonne offensive. He was severely wounded on August 15, 1918, and taken to Hospital Base No. 1 in Vichy. 5 months later, he returned to New Jersey from Brest on the ship South Dakota and was discharged from Fort Schuyler, New York, on January 28, 1919. Elihu was a member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the American Legion. He and Grace had 2 daughters, and Elihu died in 1965 at age 70 and is buried in our Cypress Cemetery. Thank you.
I would now like to turn our attention to another institution of Westbrook, the Westbrook Elks. The Westbrook Elks is the largest civic organization not only in Westbrook, but probably on the shoreline. It provides many services to our veterans throughout the year. We are grateful that they joined us today, and representing the Elks to say a few words is Mr. Mark Morin. Mr. Morin grew up in New Britain, Connecticut, and joined the United States Marine Corps in August of 1977. Mark went to boot camp in Parris Island, South Carolina from August of 1977 and graduated in November of 1977. After that, Mark got orders to relocate to Cherry Point, North Carolina, and obtained special training to become an airframes and power plants mechanic on A-6 intruder bombs. Mark traveled to the Far East countries for a year tour based in Akunui, Japan. During that year, Mark deployed to the Philippines, Korea, and Okinawa. After the tour of the Far East, Mark deployed to other NATO countries in support of joint military efforts. Mark ended his military term as sergeant in August of 1981. Please welcome Mr. Mark Morin.
First of all, Semper Fi and happy birthday, Marines. Hoorah. All right. I want to thank everybody for giving us this opportunity here to represent the Elks and give me an opportunity to speak to other veterans here. I did have a part in here, have all the veterans raise your hands, but you stood up. Thank you. Making me my time shorter here. I also want to take a moment to dedicate this to our first responders also. They're here protecting us on U.S. soil here in our country, just as we did abroad. So I'd just like to say thank you to all of our first responders that are here also. And it's actually great seeing the young children here, young adults. I think it's important that everybody understands, what is a veteran? Today's Veterans Day, and some folks understand what it is, and maybe some of you don't. But I think it's important, for all of us to still show our appreciation. So I guess the one thing I can say, if you want to relate a veteran, is think about a superhero that you may have in your life. Take that as what a veteran is, because they dedicate their lives to keeping our country safe and secure. You may have seen veterans in their uniforms or heard stories about their experiences. They've served in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. Some of them have deployed to faraway places, while others have worked right here at home and have done amazing things to keep us secure. But being a veteran is not always easy. They have had to leave their families and loved ones behind, and they had to face challenges and sacrifices. They have missed birthdays, holidays, and important moments. Today, we gather here today to honor and pay tribute to those brave men and women that have served in our armed forces on this Veterans Day. We come together as a nation to express our deepest gratitude and appreciation for their selfless sacrifice, unwavering courage, and steadfast commitment to protecting our freedoms. Veterans Day holds a special significance in our hearts. It's a day to reflect the countless sacrifices made by our veterans and their families. It's a day to remember those who have served in times of peace and war, and those who have fought on foreign soil, and those who have defended our homeland. We owe a debt of gratitude to our veterans that can never truly be repaid. They have answered the call of duty, leaving behind their families, their homes, and their comfort to protect the values and principles that we hold so dear. They have faced unimaginable challenges, witnessed the horrors of wars, and yet they have stood tall with honor. They have brave heroes who are here today to celebrate and say thank you. The Westbrook Elks has high respect for veterans. We hold 2 barbecues a year for our veterans from around the state. We have our flag retirement at one of those ceremonies. And then we actually, that sign to protect our country are those old flags that we've had. We also hold a Flag Day ceremony where we celebrate the many versions of our country's flags. We are Elks and proud to serve our veterans and communities. I, as a veteran, also like to know that it is my honor and pleasure to have served and protect the people of this country. It was my pleasure to do this for you. May God bless those who paid the ultimate price protecting this country, and God bless our country.
Good morning. I am Selena Erickson, a senior at Westbrook High School and president of the Student Council. Today, we have over 400 students present and participating in this extraordinary ceremony. I'd like to take a moment to emphasize the meaning of Veterans Day to my fellow classmates. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the fighting of World War I ended in 1918. Due to the conclusion of the war to end all wars, November 11th became a universally recognized day of celebration. The day was originally declared Armistice Day 8 years after the end of World War I and honored only veterans of that war. Then, in 1954, after World War II and the Korean War, it was renamed Veterans Day to honor all veterans who served America in war and defended democracy. So today, we honor all of our veterans who unselfishly placed their lives on the line for our freedom. Those men and women were ordinary people until they heard the call of duty and answered it. They left their families, their homes, and their lives, not for recognition or fame, or even the honor we bestow upon them today. They fought to protect our country, to maintain our way of life. As we honor our veterans and remember their great deeds, let us also salute those who are currently fighting for our freedom. Veterans Day is a special day for veterans, and it's also a day for all Americans. It's a day to remember why we were fighting and a reminder to walk toward tomorrow, still honoring them by living in the freedom that they protected. Thank you.
At this time, the Westbrook High School and Middle School Choir will be performing America the Beautiful with My Country 'Tis of Thee.
Forever waves of grace.
I'm Chet Bialicki, member of the Board of Selectmen and chairman of the Veterans Day Committee here in Westbrook. I'd like to take a little intermission from the program to acknowledge some of the individuals and groups that were responsible for putting together this great program today. Starting with our superintendent of schools, Dr. Christina Martineau. Dr. Martineau, over there. Dr. Martineau made it possible for 500 students, faculty, and staff to be here today, providing the direction and support for all our schools' participation. Thank you, Dr. Martineau. Our three principals. Ms. Tara Winch from Westbrook High School. She brought all her students and faculty along with the choir and band here, and she also hosted a breakfast for the veterans this morning. Mr. Matthew Talmadge, middle school principal, brought all his students and faculty here along with the middle school chorus this morning. And Ms. Ruth Rose, principal of Daisy Ingraham School, brought grades 4 and 5, and her faculty and staff along with the choral section of today's program. Also reaching out and thanking our emergency service providers, our police with resident trooper April Morin to get our roads closed off today and provide a protective area for us. Our fire department with Chief Matthew Canova. It wasn't easy finding a location for that large garrison flag, but he did. And he also invited the Old Saybrook Fire Department to help since we needed 2 ladder trucks to hold that flag up. Our emergency operations director, Mr. John Palermo, who assisted us immensely this weekend, opening up buildings for all kinds of supplies we needed. Thank you. Next, you see some cameras around the crowd. Well, we have our local Valley Shore Community TV, which serves southeastern Connecticut. They'll be airing the event on community television, so we'll be able to see the entire streaming of this today. I believe Emily Miner's here, who's the public access coordinator with Anna Marie Lepard, the assistant producer, and also Chris Morgan, as well as Channel 8 is here as well, so I believe we may see something on the news. So thank you so much for being here today. We have some representatives here as well from the U.S. Marine Corps. I believe we met Sergeant Santos Ricardo. Sergeant Vicario is here. The U.S. Navy Petty Officer David Hill DeStefano is here, and I believe I even saw someone from the Air Force here. Is there someone from the Air Force here I saw earlier today? Okay, we'll be drawing some attention at the end of our program. Lastly, there's some individuals and some groups to mention. Mr. Dennis Allen, his son Dennis Allen Jr., Mr. Arthur Corder, who helped with all the sound equipment for today. We thank you for that. Mr. and Mrs. Jill and Dana Brainerd came in this morning to help set up for this great event. And you might see some students mingling in the crowd earlier. They were taking pictures, they were giving out poppies, they were giving out flags and bracelets, and those behind me introducing the speakers. These are members of the high school from Teen Leadership, Student Council, Interact, and SAD. So thank you to all of you. So once again, these are the individuals not listed in the program that needed to be recognized for today. But on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, First Selectman John Hall, Selectman Joseph Campbell, and myself, Chet Bialicki, we thank everyone for the participation today. This is a great event, and the weather held up. Thank you very much, Gil, for that. Okay. Thanks again. And now I'd like to draw attention to the Westbrook High School Band. The Westbrook High School Band will be performing the United States Armed Forces Salute by Douglas E. Werder. Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished guests, the students, faculty, and administration of Westbrook High School would like to take this opportunity to thank our armed service members. If you are a United States military veteran, an active duty member, a spouse thereof, or a Gold Star family member, please rise or step forward to be recognized when your branch's anthem is announced. United States Army. United States Marine Corps. United States Navy. United States Air Force. United States Coast Guard.
Give another round of applause to the Westbrook High School Band. I would now like to invite up Father Michael Bovino for our closing remarks and prayer.
Morning, everyone, or good afternoon now. I've just been here in Westbrook for about 3 months now, so I'm a new resident, the associate at St. Pio Parish here in Westbrook and Old Saybrook. And, you know, it just strikes me what a beautiful celebration to be a part of, to be a part of this community. Something like this is not something I've been a part of before, so just to congratulate us as a community for such a special celebration. You know, the letter to St. James says that the wise man, the just man, is slow to anger, slow to speak, and quick to listen. So we gather today, you know, to honor and to thank our veterans for their service to our country and our freedom, but also to listen, right? In some ways, your experience of the hell of war is foreign to us, right? It's not something that we can really grasp as citizens. In earlier eras and generations often kept quiet, were reluctant to talk about their experience of war, and for a number of reasons, likely. But one of those reasons perhaps being, how could I speak of what I've experienced? How could I try to communicate to somebody who hasn't been through what I've been through? Fear being misunderstood. And so while we may not fully grasp or understand the true sacrifice that you have made as veterans and as servicemen and women of our country, we offer this ceremony and this day as an attempt to honor and to thank you for your sacrifice, for our freedom, and for your continued protection and service to our country. So we honor you and we thank you. We'll close in a prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this day, this beautiful weather. We thank you especially for this day on which we honor and celebrate and give thanks for those veterans who serve our country. We thank you for those gathered here today from this community of Westbrook. We ask your blessing upon each of them, their families, their loved ones, and all of us gathered here. We ask your continued blessing over our country, all of its citizens, and those who serve our country in the armed forces. We ask this all in confidence and trust in your providence and your goodness. Amen.
This concludes all the formalities, but at this point, we have one final thing to do. The people here in the gazebo will process over, if you'll open a little corridor for us, to the monuments. We will lay some flowers in honor of our departed service people. Invited along with us will be the Elks, the uniformed Marines, Navy, Air Force, and veterans as you are able to come over with us. We will lay the flowers, and then we will be dismissed, and I ask that you leave in silence in respect of our veterans and our departed service people. Thank you very much.